Patriotic Party fights of suggestions its management of Cocoa Board is partly to blame for recent operational and financial challenges facing the company. Also, the Accra High Court grants leave to parties in the Vehicle Enforcement Association versus the DVLA case for them to settle it out of court. A lot later, we're in the Volta region where the Food and Drugs Authority has seized dozens of diapers from the whole central market over safety and regulatory compliance concerns. And a very warm welcome to you this afternoon here on News Central. I am Mawina Egbeta. The bulletin starts right now. Well, a warm wave as well to kickstart the bulletin. And the Minority Caucus in Parliament is calling on President John Mahama to dismiss the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Cocoa Board, Dr. Andy Abbey, citing what they describe as a deepening crisis in the country's cocoa sector. Now, according to the minority, the reduction in the cocoa producer price of approximately some 28.6% could have serious implications for farmers and their families, hence the need for the president to act.
New managers of the cocoa sector have reset the trading program of Cocoa Board. We used to sell about 70% on forward sales and 30% on spot. They argued that that was an incompetent approach and decided to change it. And now they are selling about 70% on spot. That is why today, as prices have dipped, they are struggling and are saying that the price they had announced ends up being higher than the current prices on the market. That's number one. This action to announce a 28% reduction in the price amounts to a haircut of about 28% on close to 1 million Ghanaian cocoa farmers. Already, when you go into the cocoa growing areas, I was in my areas just a few days ago. A lot of young people are already not going into cocoa because they say the older folk who went into it, they don't see a transformation in their lives. It's left with the old, elderly, poor on the farms. When you do this, what is going to happen in subsequent years is that even those ones will not be going into the cocoa production. If they won't sell their cocoa farms to Galamsey operators, God knows what they will do. All of this has come about because of the reset that Cocoa Board did. And that is why, respectfully, we ask the president to relieve the Cocoa Board CEO of his responsibilities at this point in time. Number two, we are asking the government that in previous times when cocoa prices fell and the government absorbed the shock and protected the cocoa farmer, the NDC government should absorb the cost of what they have done and protect the cocoa farmer and restore at least the 3,625 that they promised. This 2,800 or so that they are promising is totally unacceptable. Already we are receiving messages from cocoa farmers who say that if this is what is going to happen, they are going to demonstrate in a number of these. And if they do, we in this caucus, we will join them on the streets to do this demonstration.
Well, that's the minority in Parliament. The party, the NPP, they fought off, or they're fighting off suggestions their management of Cocoa Board is partly to blame for the recent challenges being experienced in the cocoa sector. General Secretary Jason Frimpong-Kodia says the current administration simply failed to plan and the recent inability to pay cocoa farmers. He's been speaking on the TV3 New Day.
Governance is a serious business. And the difference between a mediocre government and a foresight government is to be your ability to predict the medium and long term. So the question I will ask is that, so when the government got to know that it was facing challenges at that point, October, November, December, we are in February, why didn't it communicate it to the farmers? And as a government, you understand that cocoa sector is the backbone of our economy.
I mean, just to take you on the point a bit about having foresight. I mean, you agree that even during the tenure of the NPP, when you are fixing cocoa prices, you take a look at the price on the global market. You agree with that?
Certainly. Certainly, but you don't change the price market midway. We are in the main cocoa season, right? And before a farmer goes to cultivate his cocoa, a price has been established. That is how much you are going to get. So through the processes of cultivating, hiring laborers to work on it, the farmer is anticipating that at the end of my harvest, I'm going to sell my produce at this price, which has been fixed by the government.
So in the event...
So in any case, that is why you're in government. Governments have, in previous years, particularly reference to the NPP government, in 2017, cocoa prices plummeted from 3,000 to about 1,800. But what did the government do? The government issued a bailout for our farmers whilst it tried to figure out how to resolve the issue. So the question is, in the middle of a cocoa season, if the NDC government had foresight, were innovative, they should have anticipated that we are going to get to this point. So therefore, within this short time, let me provide a bailout for the farmers so that at least in the next cocoa season, then we can come and sit down and put on the table, these are the issues confronting the cocoa sector. But they never did that.
Let's speak to the Director of Presidential Initiatives on Agriculture and Agribusiness, Dr. Peter Boamo Tokuno, this afternoon on what the position of the minority is to the big announcement from yesterday by the Finance Minister, which has got everybody talking. Doc, I appreciate you speaking to us. Your government, the John Mahama administration, is being called out by the opposition, both in Parliament and the party itself, for giving farmers a haircut due to the reduction of the producer price per bag of cocoa. How do you respond to this assertion which they're running with?
This is rather unfortunate to even get the minority gather the moral temerity to even hold press conferences and talk about cocoa. They have absolutely no moral authority to talk about cocoa, particularly when it has to do with the issues at hand, because these are the people who just left government collapsing the entire cocoa sector, deceiving the cocoa farmers, shortchanging the cocoa farmers, making the cocoa farmers worse off. And not only the farmers, the production of cocoa itself worse off and its contribution to national development worse off. And so they have no moral authority to talk about cocoa. But coming to the real issues at hand, everybody knows that cocoa pricing to the farmer is a factor of the FOB price, which we call, in other words, the international price. Now, the NPP, when they were in government, were deploying two strategies to buy cocoa. They were deploying the spot price purchase and the forward sales. At a point in time, they moved away completely from the spot price strategy to the futures market. Now, what happened was that they locked this country in a $3,200 futures market for almost 2 years. And what resulted from that was that for the first 4 years of their government, they never increased the cocoa price to the farmer. The second half of their time in government, they increased the cocoa prices. But even with that, if you do the analysis of the pricing mechanism that they had done, they couldn't increase the prices for the farmer to benefit fully from the international pricing. And so we got to a point in time where the spot price at the international market was $10,000 US. And at that instance, they were giving the cocoa farmer less than 25% of the FOB price of $10,000 US. In fact, it even got a point in 2024 where the futures market were selling cocoa for $12,000, and yet they were selling cocoa for $3,200, and for that matter, making the farmer worse off. Now, having said that, we are confronted with the reality where the prices of cocoa have fallen from the $12,000 US to about $4,100. Now, when the prices was good and it was around $7,000 somewhere last year, we increased the cocoa price from the $2,800 they left to $3,100 and subsequently to $3,600. Now, this 3,600 that we were paying, the prices have fallen from 7,000 down to 4,100. So that means that government has lost significant $3,000 from a ton of cocoa. And that means that government would have to shove that weight off the farmer.
Right.
So from the last year season, we started in August, up to now, government had bought the cocoa for 3,600, whilst the price has come down.
Right.
But it has gotten to a point in time where our cocoa, when we buy even at 3,600 per bag, which is the 4,100, we are not able to go and sell the cocoa on the international market to be able to break even or to be able to pay the farmers. And so as we speak, the international market are considering Ghana's cocoa much more expensive. And for that matter, we are unable to trade. And so there are cocoa that we have bought that we have not been able to trade. And so this is bringing two problems. One, the first problem is that you are not able to pay the farmer for the cocoa that you have picked through the LBCs. The second problem is that there are several farmers who are also still holding their beans and you are not able to buy, because when you go to buy at that price, you are buying underpriced. And so that means that government has to take a drastic, solution to strategy for the solution to this problem. Now, what we have decided to do, two things. The backlog of cocoa that we have, which is considered expensive on the market.
Well, that is going to be bought at the new price, and then you're going to pay up to 90% for those that have been purchased already. At the heart of this conversation, Doug, is the question of strategy as well, which resulted in what it is that we're seeing. The argument has been made that your administration resorted to spot pricing, which, upon the plummeting of world prices, has resulted in this challenge. The question being asked is, what is the strategy you adopted, reason for which the fall in the price of cocoa has so significantly impacted us that we're having to reduce the price per bag for the cocoa farmer?
The strategy of spot pricing has been one of the best strategies in cocoa trading, which our friends in opposition never took advantage of. And as I explained, when they had sold our cocoa for $3,200, it was selling for $12,000. And the farmers were made wet up. They lost significant portions. And relatively, they were paying about 25% compared to the FOB price. But what we have done in the last year was to, first of all, clear a forward contract that they had of about 330,000 metric tons. Then we would have to buy at the current price to be able to meet that. Then going forward, we have to buy at the current price for the market. And so we had very limited choice.
Which is very understood. The point I want to make is, have we been able to clear that backlog of tons of cocoa we needed to supply, such that going forward, there is no longer a backlog hanging over the shoulders of cocoa farmers and cocoa board into the 2026-2027 cocoa season?
100% clear. And in actual fact, last year we made about 3.24 or 3.5 billion, between 3.24 and 3.5 billion dollars from the cocoa market, compared to some $700 million in 2024 and some $600 million in 2023. And so there have been significant gains, significant effort. But this is as a result of the fact of improved productivity. When we came into office, we restored the free fertilizer for the farmer. We restored the free spraying exercise for the farmer. We restored all the services that were given to the farmer for free before we left power. That allowed for the farmer to be more productive. And so you would realize that the yields outcome for last year went up significantly. And that is why we are having some of these challenges. So there are a lot of farmers who are still holding products because they had bumper harvest last year. But that is the whole idea of Cocoa Board's responsibility. Right. Cocoa Board has a by purpose responsibility. They are supposed to provide agronomic support for the farmer and provide economic support for the farmer to not only improve the life of the farmer, but also to grow the value chain so as to get more jobs, for young people. Right. And so this responsibility has been exacted by excellence. And if anybody sits aside and say that, okay, this is a haircut, we have given haircut to the cocoa farmer, then that person clearly is expressing stratospheric level of hypocrisy, because indeed this is not a haircut. This is a market thing. So when everybody is selling maize for 400 Ghana on the market, and you have your maize and you say you sell it for 800, nobody will buy. You have to go and sell it at the market rate. Absolutely. And that is the challenge that we are confronted with.
Right. 2 quick questions from me in relation to going forward, right? So we've had the reforms as announced by the minister yesterday. 50% of all cocoa beans from the 2026-2027 farming season going into local processing. The remaining 50%, what is the strategy going forward? We're going to continue with spot prices, or it's going to be a mixture of forward sales and spot pricing?
It's going to be a blended strategy. And at the heart of the success of this blended strategy is good pricing forecasting. And because Ghana and Ivory Coast, hold the muzzle in terms of production, our collaboration between the two countries would be very key in forecasting pricing and, having a blended strategy used in the market. And we are going to continue to do spot sales where necessary and going to do forward sales where necessary. When the NPP were in power, it got to a point in time where they did 100% forward sales. And last time I had the conversation that they didn't owe syndicated loan, and they had forgotten that in 2024, the situation became worse. In fact, from 2023 to 2024, the situation became worse such that the syndicated loan, when they go to the cocoa market, they couldn't get. They had this over 300 million metric tons of forward contract, which they couldn't use as a collateral to go and raise syndicated loan. And that was how bad the situation was. And so you need a mixture of strategy that will make you benefit from both the spot price gains and also the forward, the futures market gains, so that you would always keep the farmer better off and more productive. But I dare say that even with the current pricing that we have offered, which is 90% of the FOB price, the farmer still is better off because his cost of production has come down significantly. He's getting free fertilizer, he's getting free agrochemicals, he's getting free spraying, which is the cost component of the farm, which has been taken off the shoulder of the farmer.
Final question from me, Doc, on the entire cocoa sector. You'll agree with me, there's a lot of politics associated with this. And even as we've been having this conversation, there's a back and forth as to what the NPP did and what you're doing, and the argument that they have no moral right to be criticizing. Would you agree to the larger populace when they say we've politicized the cocoa sector for far too long, and perhaps this should be a rallying point for a national conversation in making the sector better for all of Ghanaians?
Unfortunately, the cocoa sector cannot be devoid of politics because it is the heart of the Ghanaian economy and it employs majority of our rural folks. And so it would have significant political implications. And so you cannot take politics out of it. But rather, what is most significant that all of us should consider, both those in opposition and those of us in government, is the livelihood of the farmer, the livelihood of the young people that must benefit from a growth in the value chain development, from the processing, and from how we strategically trade our cocoa to be able to make enough for us to cushion our economy and grow our economy.
Doc, I appreciate you greatly for making time to speak to us. That's Dr. Peter Boankra, is the Director of Presidential Affairs on Agriculture, speaking to us this afternoon. We're staying on the subject of cocoa because farmers in the Bole region are expressing mixed reactions to the government slashes of the price per bag for the 2025-2026 crop season. The measure announced by the Finance Minister yesterday aims to address the impact of falling global cocoa prices, as we've been talking to you about. Let's take a listen to a number of them who've been sharing their thoughts with my colleague Claude Kumie-Bisa.
In a contentious decision, the government has slashed the cocoa producer price from 51,660 Ghana cedis to 41,392 Ghana cedis per ton. Despite initial outrage, many farmers have voiced their understanding, acknowledging the finance minister's recent remarks that these difficult measures are essential to safeguard the future of the cocoa industry.
In order to cushion the farmer, the PPLC has recommended that the farmer be paid 90% of the achieved gross FOB of $4,200 per ton, to mitigate the adverse impact as a result of the fall in the world market price. Effective today, Thursday, 12 February 2026, the new producer price for the remainder of the 2025-2026 crop season will now be 41,392 Ghana cedis per ton and 2,587 Ghana cedis per bag.
This strategic decision aims to provide immediate liquidity and ensure the sustainability of the cocoa sector amidst these adverse market conditions. While cocoa farmers in the Bono region have reluctantly embraced the price reductions, they expressed a sense of satisfaction regarding the new measures announced by the finance minister.
It's a problem, but at least we've heard from our neighbors, neighboring countries. Some are around 2,300. So at least we know we are somehow better than them. We've been giving fertilizers this year. We've been giving chemicals to spray and a lot. So we are grateful. But what we also plead is that they release our monies for the ones they take to us. And then as the price has come down at the world market, we are hoping and praying that someday to come the price will increase. And we will plead on the government that should in case the price increases, they should also try and increase the price for us.
Yeah, dear, we are for an idea. And how be say near up peso yeno.
We are not so worried about it. All we want is that he will ensure that the cocoa sector becomes better. Our plea to government is that they should pay us what they've already bought from us. If he says you pay us our monies and reduce the prices of the new ones, then we don't have a problem. But all we are pleading is that if there is an increment in the world market, he should ensure that we also increase ours for us to calm our nerves. Claude Kumi Ebisa, TV3 News, Doma.
And cocoa farmers across the country continue to share their thoughts, mixed reactions, quite a number of them as well we've been hearing here on News Central. But let's move away from the subject of cocoa, right, and talk politics in relation to the opposition NPP, because there's been conversation surrounding their leadership in Parliament. The General Secretary says the party is not currently considering changing its leadership in the legislature. Justin Frimpong maintains the NPP is satisfied with the leadership of Alexander Afenyomarkin.
Party considering making changes to its parliamentary leadership. We saw the NDC do that before the last election. Is that something that is under consideration?
It's something that's not come on the table. And I don't see why at this point the party wants to change the leadership in Parliament. For what reason? So it's something that has not come on the table.
Is the party at the headquarters level satisfied with the parliamentary opposition that has been provided under the leadership of
overwhelmingly satisfied. Overwhelmingly satisfied. Because we know the work that the mighty minority under the leadership of Afenyomarkin have been doing. And certainly we will continue to give them all the needed support for them to be able to continue to perform their job. But we are impressed. We are very impressed. We are very elated about the work that they have been doing as a minority group.
Final question. I mean, is there any message for the members of the New Patriotic Party, those who made time to watch you this morning, and subsequently we know we have a lot of your colleagues also joining us on this platform?
Well, I'll continue to encourage them that, yes, we went through a difficult period, particularly in 2025, but we have been able to come out of it successfully. And if, as a party, we are able to close our ranks, if, as a party, we are able to continue with the reorganization that we are doing, I'm very convinced that in 2028, we shall come back to power. I'm highly convinced. All that Ghanaians are expecting from us is to prove and show to them that, yes, we mean business, we have taken our reorganization very serious, and our internal elections will be conducted peacefully, transparently, and also make sure that at least what caused us in 2024 elections, the party would have learned lessons from it. A key among them is apathy. And apathy started internally when some members were denying the chance to contest for certain positions at various levels. And we have bent on making sure that the internal elections that we are going to organize, it will be free, fair, and transparent. And if we are able to have an effective structure from the polling station, electoral area constituency to the region and national, so certainly the MPP will be in a strong position to come back to power in 2028.
Away from that, the Accra High Court has granted leave to parties in the Vehicle Enforcement Association versus the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority DVLA case to settle the matter out of court after lawyers for Original Manufacturing and Embossment Company Limited notified the court of their readiness or of the readiness of the parties. The plaintiffs, VMAG, had filed a suit to restrain the DVLA from rolling out a new vehicle number plate registration system. Jojo Bruce Kwanzaa is a spokesperson for the VMAG group.
Right, Mr. Kwanzaa. So the court has granted the request by all parties to try and resolve the issue out of court. What do you make of this?
Well, it's good news for us because all along, this is what we've been telling the court, that our job is embossment, it's not manufacturing. And the contract the DVLA awarded was for contract, for manufacturing. So we have no problem with the manufacturer. All we are saying is that you cannot add our job, which is embossment, to the manufacturer. And now that the court has agreed for a settlement, we hope that the DVLA and OMEL will agree and give us our job.
Away from this, the national chair of the National Democratic Congress, the NDC, Johnson Asiedu-Nketia, has urged party members who are yet to receive government appointments to remain patient. Addressing party faithful during a stop on his Central Regional tour in Winneba in the Futu constituency, Asiedu-Nketia explained that constitutional provisions limit the number of appointments President Mahama can make at a given time. He noted that the party had fulfilled its promise to reduce the size of government to 60 ministers, a move he says naturally restricts the number of available positions. The NDC chairman encouraged members with grievances to channel their concerns through the appropriate party structures, assuring them that their issues would be addressed in due course.
Branches ya beto no ehon na etase mo fi money obi a obeye na djuma yie a monim se osom party no woni kwacho ehon kohia se mo besesa no na obi a ne nai ba kusi ha na ne nai ba kusi ha mo na mo otu mi se mo besesa sa du eyezu enunti se abatu onuduru so na mukoji sika na obi amunim se ne nansi ha moji ni sika na matu amanu Asiedu-Nketia ntimi mfiri nkran emeyi no mfiri ho enti mo bie mani na de onye papa na moto abayi no a moyi na firi ho enti madam nyina ase mehwa ni mo se branch elections no yebewie no na chese mwanya branch executives ya womo ebedi party no anim ni atimi akoko ni wini 2028 election na yanya MP ewo efutu ha medamu nyina eyezu.
The chair of the NDC, Johnson Asiedu-Nketia. Now, the Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Agnes Namu-Mulati, has begun moves to strengthen and modernize daycare centers in major markets across the country. The initiative forms part of the revised Early Childhood Care and Development Policy aimed at improving child protection and expanding early learning support for children of market women.
The Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection was at the 31st December Early Childhood Care Center in Accra as part of efforts to strengthen early childhood services under the revised Early Childhood Care and Development Policy. According to the Minister, the visit was to assess existing facilities and engage market queens in the management of the center on improving child protection and developmental outcomes for children in their care.
We realized that there was a need to come here based on the revised early childhood care and development policy to see what we can do to join forces with the management of the market daycare centers to provide adequate protection for the children and ensure that they don't miss out on the key things or critical things in their development.
The minister also discussed plans to provide further training for caregivers through the Department of Social Welfare, with social workers to be assigned to ensure quality standards are maintained. During a tour of the facility, she interacted with the children, identified infrastructure gaps requiring attention, and donated 10,000 Ghana cedis to support the center. She later visited the Makola Government Clinic, where she inspected the facility and engaged staff on antenatal services and child welfare delivery.
We're here at the 31st December Early Childhood Care Center, where the Honorable Minister came here to visit these children as well, to ensure their well-being and to also inquire as to what they need in terms of infrastructure and other pressing school items, and pledged to do all she can to ensure that this school is kept running. I am Nur Mohammed reporting for TV3 News, Accra.
And that's Nura with a bit of the kids. That will take us on to our very first break here on the Bulletin. We're back with spot checks across the regions and a bit more stories for you here on News Central. Please stay with us. for Gender and Development and Ghana's President John Mahama has challenged African countries to commit to increasing their budgetary allocations to support women and gender-based programs to ensure that women are not left behind. Speaking at a breakfast meeting on financing and reaffirming Africa's gender commitment, President Mahama noted that gender-based programs suffer budget cuts whenever countries want to be austere in managing their budget, a move he says stifles growth and development of the continent.
2028, every member state should adopt gender-responsive budgeting with a defined minimum allocation for gender equality. The second is that let us commit to urgent ratification and implementation of the AU Convention on Ending Violence Against Women and Girls, supported by costed national action plans. And third, let us accelerate financial and economic inclusion to ensure women and our youth enjoy equal access to finance, assets, markets, decent work, and economic decision-making. And the fourth and final, let us convene a high-level stock-taking summit to publicly report on our progress, reinforce accountability, and celebrate our success stories. Private sector and development partners, align your finances.
As a President of the Republic, or Chairperson of the Health Committee of Parliament, Dr. Marquette Nawani has blamed the lack of a central coordinated communication system between facilities for the prevalence of the no-bed syndrome in the country. He says there must be real-time data system tracking bed availability for emergency cases. He was speaking in response to a report of a man who died after being turned away by 3 major hospitals in the capital, Accra.
The no-bed syndrome is a phenomenon that sometimes I find it difficult to understand, especially when it is an emergency. Because when it's an emergency, we expect that you stabilize the person first, before even if you need to refer, you do so. But now, I must say that there are so many hospitals in the country. Even the specialist hospitals in Accra are not that small. What I am thinking is that there's a lack of communication between hospitals. Because if you go to the first hospital and there's no bed, they should be able to inform you that there is a bed in this particular hospital, but we do not have. If we can network our systems, if you go to this hospital and there's no bed, they should be able to inform you that go here, there are beds. But it appears every hospital is operating like an island, where if you go there, there's no bed. The hospital does not know that possibly if you go to Rich, you might get a bed, or if you go to 37 Military Hospital, there might be a bed there, or somewhere else. This information should be available by now. We should be able to network our system to know where there is an emergency bed in Accra here. But for the other small towns, they shouldn't just turn away any patient because there's no bed. The no-bed syndrome should not be entertained in the smaller towns and then the district hospitals.
Instances where patients...
As Dr. Ket Nawani, let's take you into the regions right now. Now, controversy surrounding the sitting or the siting of the government flagship 24-hour economy market in part of the Upper West region with local authorities and sections of traditional leaders is sharply divided, right? Correspondent Ibrahim Boankra reports that while one debates the implications on relocating a school for a market Wichau's argument is based on equity.
John Mahama government is set to build model markets across the country under the 24-hour economy policy to boost growth, create jobs, and increase productivity. In Wa, public concern grew after reports indicated that a 70-year-old Tendamba Basic School is to be relocated or demolished to make space for the proposed modern market. The move did not sit well with many, as landowners known as Tendambes, educators, and some community members argue that replacing an operational school with commercial infrastructure would harm children's welfare. Ibrahim Abu Sunkara is the spokesperson for the Tendamba.
We, the landlords and other important stakeholders of the school, are of the strongest belief that the said Tendamba is more suitable for educational purpose other than a market. We are concerned that the proposed conversion of the school into a 24-hour market will have negative effects on the current pupils, teachers, parents, and the community as a whole.
The issue gained national attention right from social media to the presidency. President John Dramani Mahama did not mince words on the issue.
Every district of Ghana is going to get a 24-hour market. It must be in a place that is easily accessible to the people. But we want them to be as close to the city and to the capital as possible. And so this controversy about the school and all that, I did not say that the school should be used. I heard some people said, directly from above. And they like doing this from above, from above, from above. I don't know who is above there.
Meanwhile, in Wichau, the district capital of Wawes, traditional authorities and youth leaders jointly organized a press conference demanding that the district share of the project be located in Wichau. They claimed attempts were made to site it in Poyantanga, a community within the eastern corridor of the district, contrary to President Mahama's directive. Mohamed Bondumbu is the Wichau Youth Secretary.
Despite this clarity, the government on the ground suggests attempts to site the market in a manner inconsistent with the directive. Observe a clear pattern in the siting of major projects. The proposed 24-hour market, an intended modern daycare facility, and AstroTurf are all reported to be located at Poyantanga. Meanwhile, the southern, central, northern, and western part of Wawes district continue to receive no comparable projects.
The 24-hour initiative is part of a broader reset strategy focusing on value-added industrialization and strengthening supply chains.
Staying on the subject of the government's 24-hour economic policy, because as part of efforts to operationalize the president's policy on markets, the Bole District Assembly and the Office of the Member of Parliament have begun a massive decongestion exercise at the allocated land site for work to commence. Several shops at the allocated area have since been demolished to pave way for the start of the project. Residents say they hope the project kickstarts as soon as possible. The 24-hour economic policy is a flagship intervention that seeks to deepen local economic development and decentralization. Let's go to Bole now and engage my colleague Christopher Mwako on this particular subject matter. Chris, I appreciate you joining us. We know that some areas are having issues with the siting of the market. Paint a picture for us on the situation in Bole.
Yes, so that of Bole is a bit different because in Bole, there's a consensus between the stakeholders as to where this market will be sited. So as we speak, a land has been identified in the heart of the Bole community. Then the clearing of the place has since taken place. Decongestion exercise to demolish structures on that particular land has also taken place. So as we speak, they are just waiting for the contractor to get on site to start work. for the many residents, especially those who were asked to leave the site where the 24-hour market will be taking place. They are convinced that it's a good decision and that once the project comes, it's going to support the economic growth of the area. Let's take a listen to what some of the residents have been telling us.
The market, indeed, I'm very happy because where the siting is in the middle of the town, and indeed to have any market functioning very well is supposed to be located in the middle of the town. If we site a market outskirts of the town, people find it difficult to visit those areas. So being in town, and especially in the middle of the town, that will encourage or enable people to always get easy access to the market. Instead of siting it outside the town, it doesn't make economic sense. So for it being in the middle of the town, everybody will have easy access to this particular market.
Let's look at this.
Actually, we are most grateful for getting this beautiful edifice. But you know, for every good project, normally it comes with other disadvantages or maybe some push. How to get the land actually wasn't easy, in a sense that people were occupying here, they were getting their daily bread here. All of a sudden, we have to cut them away from their daily bread. Actually, it wasn't that easy, but through negotiation, through the use of Bole, the district assembly, and then that of the MP, we both collaborated with the traditional leaders, and we were able to talk to the people here, and honestly, therefore agreed that they will move here and they will use it for development. Since we are going to build stores here, they are going to be the same beneficiary of this particular project. So today on me, it's not more an effect, but rather a blessing to us. And if you look at their structures, most of them are just dilapidated structures. So getting these modern stores or modern edifice, actually, it's a blessing to them. They have welcomed it. Here was just a lot of problems were happening here. So since we are in for development, everybody is ready. So,
Chris, what's been the assurance as well from authorities regarding the completion of this project?
Yes, so the Member of Parliament for the Bole Bamboy constituency, Yusuf Suleimana, has been giving some level of assurance to the residents. According to him, they are going to ensure that once the contractor gets on site, it's not going to be one of those projects that the contractor will start and somewhere along the line, the contractor will leave site. Because of the siting of the project, where it is, they are going to ensure that the contractor, once he kickstart the project, he completes it for the many residents who also have access to it. He's also giving assurances to the people who have been moved from the market to make way for the construction of this edifice, that once the project is completed, they are going to consider them. Those who want to have access to the stores will first of all be considered before other people who will tender in their applications. Let's take a listen to what the Member of Parliament has been telling us.
Very strong youth group, working with the district assembly and myself, have all resolved that the best place to put the market is where we are standing. This oval has so many business activities going on here, but the people have resolved that they were ready to sacrifice their businesses temporarily for us to be able to put the market here. Now, it's not going to be the market alone, but this place will be a place that we are going to focus our attention on and to put all the necessary infrastructure here to beautify our community, to beautify Bole. And that's what we are witnessing today. I can tell you, the people who were here doing their businesses have all voluntarily agreed to move out of this place to pave way for this market and other projects to take place. I want to stand here to thank them for this. But I don't know how to even...
Chris, thank you very much for joining us. That's my A colleague, Christopher Makui, joined us, and we were just hearing from the Member of Parliament for Bole as well, speaking there. Now, Transport Minister Joseph Bukari Nikwe says government is making necessary arrangements with the concessionaire working on the Boankra Inland Port project for a sooner completion. He told Parliament on Thursday that phase 1 of the facility is at 83% completion stage with a steady progress on the second phase. And the Honourable Nikwe indicated that the overall work done so far is about 50.54%.
Phase 1 is progressing steadily and at 83% complete. Phase 2 is expected to include, among others, external boundary road works, construction of sewer lines, transit facilities, referral stations, and other civil works. The overall physical progress of the project stands at 50.54%.
Is the Boankra Inland Port going to be operational by the end of 2026?
To give timelines as at this time will be very difficult for me. And I assured you that we are going to be working with the concessionaire to ensure that we give the necessary support for him to be able to deliver. And so all that we will need to do is for us to give our support to the concessionaire, and it is my hope that he is able to discharge his work as expected. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Now, the Food and Drugs Authority has seized dozens of diapers from the whole central market in the Volta region over safety and regulatory compliance concerns. The authority says the products were either unregistered, improperly labeled, or suspected to be of substandard quality, raising concerns about the health and safety of babies. Faisal Abdul Idrisu reports.
The FDA on Thursday launched a silent but well-calculated raid on a number of shops here in the whole market, uncovering dozens of unregistered diapers in flagrant violation of regulatory requirements. The products were confiscated and sent to the FDA office. Under Ghana's Public Health Act, all cosmetics, food and medical products, including diapers, must be registered and approved by the FDA before being sold on the market. Officials say unregistered products may not meet hygiene and safety standards.
The vulnerable are kids, which we think that if they use unregistered diapers, their health will be questionable. We've realized that most of the diapers in the market, they call them Broniwao diaper without label. Therefore, FDA cannot guarantee the safety and quality of it.
The affected traders insist they were unaware the products are fake, questioning the rationale behind the move.
I don't know the reason why they are doing it actually. I asked them, they said they are checking, some are not registered anyway. Yeah, that's what they said.
And you are not comfortable with it?
Yes.
Why?
Because I bought it with money, so why should I give it out like that? They allow them, that's why they are selling it.
We women, we are suffering before we eat. We don't have any back pay. We don't get salary. If you don't come to market, you will not get anything. So if you are coming to take this thing from us, our loss is from Ghana here, not from Togo.
What they are doing, I don't even understand. There should be a list. This is the diapers registered. These are not registered, so that we know what is happening. But we don't know anything. You just come and say, oh, this one is not registered, this one is not registered, this is registered. How will I understand that one?
Health experts believe poor quality diapers can cause severe public health issues for infants, especially those with very sensitive skin. The exercise, according to the FDA, will be intensified across the Volta and Oti regions to clamp down on unapproved baby products. Meanwhile, the seized products will undergo further investigation and possible destruction depending on the outcome of the regulatory assessments. Faisal Abdul Idrisu, TV3 News. Ho.
The National Road Safety Authority in Ghana has set up a technical committee to investigate the increasing accidents involving imported converted Toyota Voxy vehicles, particularly on the Accra-Kumasi highway. Concerns include reckless driving, speeding and safety risks from modifying right-hand steering to left-hand with calls for regulation or bans on using them for commercial transport.
Accidents involving imported Toyota Voxy vehicles
used for long-distance commercial purposes have raised serious concerns among road safety and transport experts. While transport unions are calling for a halt in the use of such minibuses for long-distance travel, the National Road Safety Authority is urging the public to exercise caution when boarding such vans. The Road Safety Commission has instituted a committee to assess the durability and safety of the vehicles.
The numbers we are seeing are not just figures, but human lives. These numbers we are also seeing are more than the numbers we saw during the COVID period. The number of people dying out of road crashes is more than the COVID numbers we saw. Committee's work will go a long way to ensure that we are able to do a good job. We'll give ourselves 2 weeks upon receipt of the report to start implementing your recommendations. We are not going to take away anything from your recommendations. You can be rest assured we'll be transparent. We would walk the talk as an authority. We are not going to cover anything. And I can even say, even before you start your work, that so long as we are concerned at the authority, your report will be made public.
Members of the committee include Dr. Gordon Kafui Kwesi Ayato from the Department of Mechanical Engineering as chairman, Daniel Esel from the Transport Ministry, and 9 others. The National Road Safety Authority has given the Technical Working Group 1 month to assess the safety of using converted Toyota Vozi vehicles for commercial purposes.
That's it from us here this week on News Central. On behalf of myself, the entire production team, we appreciate you being a part of the bulletin. We're back again, God willing, Monday with another edition of News Central. I am Mawina Egbeta. Many thanks for watching.